He was ahead of the game when it came to vampires. Hi, my name is Stephanie and welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're speaking to author Christopher Moore. Why do you think audiences are so attracted to this figure?
I think there's a number of things that make the vampire attractive. I think there's a universal sort of sexuality to it, and the bad boy thing, which seems to continue as a theme, even though it doesn't really ever work out for anybody in the right way. So it's got that going for it, and I think that there's the idea that these are sort of superheroes that you can become. It's not like we can all be bitten by a radioactive spider, but basically there's this sort of viral thing that vampires can do. So I think there's a romance of not only, is this creature with powers, but anybody can be changed. And I think that there's a possibility there that is often ignored.
And what tempts writers to write about vampires?
When you see yourself as a horror story writer, you know you're going to be writing a vampire book at some point. I think Stephen King's third book was a vampire book. And I think everybody tries to go at it. At least my idea was to go at it to try and do something a little bit different. And I didn't think that the science of it was something that I could really add to. So basically I went for making it funny and having the characters sort of try to figure out themselves what vampires are about.
What do you think of the recent rise in popularity of vampires in literature, in art, in movies? For example, we've got the Twilight series.
I think it's waves, and I think the Twilight series is really popular because it's so defanged.
Still don't know if I can control myself.
It's so safe. I mean, they're very weepy. It's Wuthering Heights, with superpowers. And I think that's the big appeal of it is it's targeted toward 12 and 13-year-old girls. And they're looking for that whole idea of romance and being swept away. And what better way to do it than this sort of chaste superhero?
Who would you say are your influences in terms of writing about vampires?
Well, Dracula, you always have to go back to almost what you'd call the source. Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1897. Stephen King's book, Salem's Lot, which I think came out in the late 70s, was a real influence on me. I learned how to write, that sort of cliffhanger suspense device that everybody uses, I think. Anne Rice's books to some level. I remember when they asked me to write the first one back 15 years ago, I said, look, Anne Rice has already written a history of the vampires. I don't think that I should really go down that road. And they said, well, her books aren't funny, go ahead. And so certainly those people that came before, you have to acknowledge that, I was aware of them and didn't want to do what they had already done,